I'm Mel Grubbs. I live in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm a member of Norfolk Beekeepers. It's a new organization for the last couple of years. Frank Walker is the president. We're online at norfolkbeekeepers.com. We also have Tidewater Beekeepers is the overall area here. If you see a swarm or anything like that, go to one of those sites, give us a call, we'll come get those bees for you. They just made beekeeping legal in Norfolk a couple of years ago, so I went ahead and got some bees. I started out with one hive. I had a swarm, so I moved to 2 hives. Now I've had a swarm this year, and I've got the bees growing back in my hives. Last year I got about 60 pounds of honey from the one hive, so I'm looking to get approximately 120 this year. As a member of the Tidewater and or Norfolk Beekeepers, the one thing I can to ask everybody to keep in mind is when you see a swarm out in the trees, they're not dangerous. They've eaten a lot of honey so that they're really calm. You can actually pick them up with your hands so they won't sting you. One of the biggest reasons we don't want you to go out and kill the swarms that you see, spraying them with insecticides and things like that, is something called hive collapse disorder. And that's happened in a lot of areas in the country and in this area too. It's when you go out, one week you'll go out and look at your hives and everything's fine, and then the next week you'll come back and they're all gone or all dead or something like that. And that happened to quite a high percentage of the bees in the country. And the thing that the bees are good for is pollinating all the fruits, like almonds. The only way almonds get pollinated is by bees. So if they went away, you'd have very, very few almonds. One of the big reasons that Norfolk didn't want the bees and things that had to be talked through is they got a lot of festivals in the area. And when you get out to the festivals, there's a lot of sweets. And bees, they go for that source of that sweet, and it's the closest source, So if I'm right in the middle of Norfolk, all the festivals are kind of around me, and the bees have a 2 to 3 mile range. Now you're only allowed to have so many. I think 4 hives per quarter acre, and I got a little over a third of an acre here, so I'm pretty good on that.
My name's Nadira, and I live in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm a gardener and an assistant beekeeper, as well as sort of trying to practice sustainable living sort of in the heart of Norfolk, which is a challenge but has been really rewarding. So it's been exciting to see it grow. We started keeping bees in our backyard because our youngest son has really bad allergies and asthma. And one of the ways that our doctor told us that we could help him was to have raw organic honey that was local to our area. And at that time, there weren't any local apiaries. There were a few maybe out in Virginia Beach or out in Pungo, but we wanted something that was really right in our backyard. So all of the flora that my son was allergic to, he would be able to get the most benefit. So that's why we started. Once it was legal, we got our hive, and it's grown, and now we have 3 hives, and it's been very exciting, and lots of other benefits I couldn't have imagined. This is our garden. It's early days yet for our garden. We plant what we like to eat. I think that's the biggest thing sometimes when you get started is like, what do I plant? Well, just plant what you like to eat. If you like to eat it, put it in your garden. If you don't put it in there. You won't eat it anyway. So there's peppers, because we love peppers. There's lots of tomatoes and cucumbers. There's radishes. We have squash. We plant the things that we like. We also like to plant things that are very hardy to our zone, so they don't require a lot of extra water, which is really important for water conservation. And we also try to plant things that don't diminish the soil so much. Like certain things that you can plant can really break your soil down, and we want to have this garden for a long time.
So this is our worm composter. Work with the wife here to make sure that we can have some stuff to put in our garden, and you can see underneath how they are going forward, taking care of everything. Now the bottom one here, this one is ready to harvest. I can take this out and put it in a bucket, and then put it, when I plant a plant, take a handful of it or something like that and put it in underneath the plant. And let me get that up so I can show you. See how dark that is? That's all soil. It's really good stuff. It's got a lot of good stuff for your plants. And it's got a lot of stuff that fertilizer really can't give you plants. All the moisture that the worms put out goes in the bottom, and I got a spigot right here. Okay, I can open the spigot and get all that water out. And that's what I put out there too. Every now and again, they need something a little bit more.
called worm tea, and it's really good not just for your outside plants, but it's also good for your house plants too. I give it as gifts to my girlfriends.
Yeah, and anyone who's plants and works in their gardens can look at that and tell that's great for plants. And that's all about worm vermiculite.